Next question tonight is about live streaming when it comes to music, as far as has it gotten to the point where it's reliable? And I specifically am bringing this up because DJ a couple of weeks ago announced that they are now able to utilize the full Apple Music library. If you have an Apple Music subscription and you've got the DJ app, you can everything. You basically have everything that Apple has, which is pretty close to everything that we as a DJ would need. The biggest caveat being some of the songs aren't clean. Some of their versions are the explicit versions, and they don't have clean versions of some of the songs we use. But beyond that, you've got a hellacious library of music at your fingertips if you're using the DJ app. But my question, before we kind of dig into that, if we want to more, is, guys, has the ability to stream or have you using music from some of those services, has it gotten to the point where it's reliable enough that you'd be comfortable and say, yeah, I can use that to supplement my main library type of a situation?
Go for it, Cubby.
Thanks, Dan. I probably believe it has become reliable enough. Will I use it? No, never. I'll never. I continue to have my subscription through promo only. I've had it for close to 18 years. My back library log is. I mean, I've got all the oldies and the hits, and I just continue to get new music. So it just scares me, especially some of the bars that I play at me. I know, call me old school. I don't know, but it is probably reliable enough.
Did you say old fool?
Yeah, that too.
Okay.
But I just don't want to take that chance. I mean, I feel like Eminem. I got one shot to make it to the top, and I'm not going to let a streaming thing skip or stutter in the middle of our first dance. So I will continue to buy and own all my own music and not even stream.
I'm gonna agree with Cubby to it. Or wait, no, you said, is it reliable enough? So I'm going to disagree with that aspect. I don't believe that it is reliable enough. And you kind of, by the end of that was kind of where you went with that direction, I think, in some of our locations. I think there are some venues that have high powered internet and have, the ability to do Wi-Fi, and you could hop on and not necessarily maybe to play, but to supplement. And one of the things to keep in mind with a lot of these apps is they're not streaming it, say a YouTube video streams, right? So to where you get like a chunk at a time and it keeps going along and filling in. A lot of these apps are loading the entire song in one spot. So as long as it loads, there's not going to be any interruption, right? And you can load like a few songs in advance, so that way by the time you would need to play it, it's definitely there. But I don't think we're quite to a spot where we can say, yeah, we're fine. In case in point, just last week, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, out of nowhere, people were without their cell phones. So now, if the Wi-Fi, the internet didn't go down, it didn't completely crash, but there is a situation, had you had a gig where you relied on your phone to be a hotspot to pull this information, you were stuck. So do I think at some point we'll get there? I do. And I believe it's going to happen in my lifetime. Probably before I ever decide to retire from DJing, it will be there where we can go, yes, with 100% certainty, the reliability is there because of whatever. But to an important event, I wouldn't rely on the main source of my music. Backup, those one-off type of requests, possibly, but not my full library.
And of course, I've got the promo only subscription. I have, all the thousands of songs on a computer. So I have everything. But for many aspects of the wedding day, I think you could. And I think that the part that sometimes gets overlooked by is that we start thinking it's like, oh, I'm using Spotify for the day. And, it's like, oh, I've got to be streaming. Well, most things you can, and Apple Music is like that. You can download the song so you can have a copy of it. You can go to Apple specifically, and you could download the essentials of the 80s and the 90s, and you can download an extensive amount of songs. And with DJ, you could do a show with that. You may not be able to handle all the requests if there's no internet, but you would have a hellacious library of songs that would be there to be accessed through DJ. Would I recommend though that doing that? No, because that if something goes wrong and all of a sudden, say you haven't logged into Apple on that computer for 2 weeks, and it says, oh, in order to authorize, you need to log in now. But I have no internet. There's too many things, too many variables with it. But I think that, if you manage it well and you are working with it, it could function. It definitely, if for someone who's doing one show a year, there's no way you're going to go buy a full music subscription for one show a year. I get that. You're probably going to use your Spotify because you already have that, and you've got your Apple Music because it's part of the package so that you can watch Apple TV and you can watch whatever. You've got those things, and with a little management, you could definitely function. And put them in, it's kind of in a cache type situation is when you download them onto the device, and it can definitely work.
And I wonder what kind of limit there is within that. Like, so I have with my iPads, I have Spotify, and I have a bunch of playlists that I have downloaded as my backup, so that if something were to happen, we're still playing, right? We're still getting through until something gets ready to go again, or my official backup is ready to run. But I just wonder in some of those cases, like, is there a limit within that software, within that pulling of the music, just how large of an amount you can put in the cache? Obviously, taking away the limitations of the device itself, right? Like, I get that. Mm-hmm. But I just wonder if there's some software restrictions or some.
I haven't run into it, but not saying that I've done a ton of things, but I think I probably have. Spotify, I probably have 500 songs downloaded, different playlists and such for running in 80s. I did well over 24 hours worth of music downloaded because of us driving to South Dakota, not knowing internet, for streaming out there. And it's like, you know what? I'm going to just do a 70s playlist, an 80s playlist of, Jim Cerone's, a lot of Jim Cerone's playlists were downloaded for that trip. And obviously that worked wonderfully, and I didn't have any problems, but. Yeah, it's amazing though when you can start to use some of those the Apple thing, and you start searching and doing, and which the only thing is with that, if you guys are interested in doing the DJ and Apple or any of them, Stems does not work with any of the streaming services because that has been shut off, that capability. So if that's a big part of your show, now you're back to buying your music and either buying it from promo only as a subscription or as one-offs and getting yourself going. All right.
Unless you're doing, or no, that doesn't, never mind. It didn't have stems. I was going to say the new Alpha Theta Duo. Oh, yeah. But that didn't have stems. Never mind.
Okay. Let's jump to our next question.